Do you have free will? Now, this is probably the most debated philosophical question in the world for the longest time, really. And the more I've thought about it, I've come to the realization that you don't have free will. Any conscious being does not have free will. It's really just an illusion. Now, to help you understand this more, you first have to define what free will actually is. Now, my definition of free will is one's capability to choose between different courses of action. So, the hypothetical that helped me understand this more is someone goes to an ice cream store and they're faced with the options chocolate or vanilla. They chose vanilla. Now, there's only two reasons they would choose vanilla. Reason number one is because they're forced to. Now, there's no debate there. You're forced to. Obviously, you have no free will, you have no choice in chocolate or vanilla. You were just simply forced to. Now, reason number two is because you want to. Now, why you wanted vanilla might be different reasons. I mean, it might be because it was cheaper, might be because it just tastes better, might be because they didn't have your favorite flavor there, which is strawberry, let's just say. But you wanted to do it. Now, this didn't convince me at first until you bring in the rest of the hypothetical. Another man goes into the store and he's faced with the exact same choice, chocolate or vanilla. And he chooses chocolate even though he likes vanilla more. He wanted vanilla. The only reason he chose chocolate is because, well, he wanted to prove that he had free will. Now, obviously, there you see that there's some sort of choice, but no, there actually isn't. The only reason he chose chocolate is because he wanted to prove that he had free will more than he wanted a good ice cream flavor, which I found very interesting and not convincing at first, but more I thought about it, and I kind of reversed the situation. You can't force yourself to want something, and I realized that when I came up with the idea, you can't force yourself to want to punch someone in the face. Now, lots of people would say, okay, well, I could just do it without wanting to do it. Now, there's a bunch of different reasons that you could just do it. Maybe you were forced to. That's out of your control. Maybe you were paid. Now, you wanted money more than you wanted not to hit the person in the face. I mean, that's simply it. And that's an animalistic desire for money. It's something that you simply can't control. You can't control your wants. And let's say hypothetically all of this isn't true. You can control your wants. Let's just say there's a new scientific study out, hypothetically, and it said you actually can't control your wants, blah, blah, blah. All this is stated a bunch of facts. Well, you can't control all of the outside factors that actually shape your life. For example, statistically, the most probable place you'd be born is India or China. Now, that would completely shape your life and completely, like, I'm born in Canada, obviously. I say obviously because of the fucking plaid shit behind me. But, where was I? If I was born in India, I mean, that would significantly change my life. I mean, I would eat different food. I'd go to a different school, I'd learn different things, I'd have a different language, and that would all be out of my control. Let's use LeBron James as an example. He got into basketball from an outside an outside force. It was his parents, I'm pretty sure, that put him into basketball. That there's no free will there. I mean, it wasn't his decision to get into that, and that shaped his whole entire life. And that was his parents' decision. Really, it wasn't his parents' decision. It was his parents wanting him to be in basketball, which they can't control. And really, I never understood it at first. I really thought it was really, really stupid. I mean, it was fucking, I just found it stupid because it was like, okay, I'm going to stand up right now. Boom. I had the ability to do that. I just chose that. But the more you think about it, the only reason I did that is because I wanted to prove a point that free will exists. I wanted to find comfort in having free will exist. Now, this brings you to the idea of why should murderers go to jail if it's out of their free will? And really, I have nothing to say about that, except for if we actually decided as a collective society to say, okay, free will isn't real, we're going to stop punishing everyone. Well, that would be an external force that would push more people to commit crimes because they would think, oh, it's out of my free will. Whatever, I'm just going to do it. That's another external force. If, let's say, if you murder someone and the punishment is torture for 10 years, there's going to be less people doing that because they don't want that torture and they can't force themselves to want it. Now, the same thing with the exact opposite. If there is zero law, then there's nothing that they don't want for punishment, so they're just going to do it. So that's a reason that you can't not punish these criminals, but at the same time, it's completely out of their control, and it's pretty unfair. So it's like, what do you really do about that? And in that case, I mean, I got nothing there. I'm not smart enough to figure that shit out. I'm barely figuring this out right now. And, I mean, I'm still pretty confused on the topic, but it took me a few weeks to really figure out thinking. What got me thinking is this book right here by Nietzsche. It's all about nihilism, and the more you go into nihilism, you start getting into the whole free will debate and all that stuff. Then I started watching a bunch of videos. I watched Alex O'Connor's video. I watched some weird scientist guy talking about it, which is less philosophical and more whatever the study is for, like actual human ideas and human decisions, whatever that is. It wasn't Scientology, but it was something different. But yeah, so I started watching a bunch of videos, and eventually you just come to the realization that yeah, we don't have free will. And from watching this video, you probably don't understand that, but if you think about this every single day for the next, let's just say 2-3 weeks, you're probably going to start thinking the exact same thing. And if you don't, well, that's okay out of your free will. So, like, not your fault, bro.